Tom was standing in his processing facility, reviewing the new quality control logs, feeling something he hadn't felt in months. Control. The Irish subsidiary was incorporated. The Amsterdam proposal was submitted. The farm upgrades were nearly complete. For the first time since that disastrous trade show in Riyadh, Tom felt like he was running his business instead of his business running him. Then his phone buzzed with an email that made his blood run cold. It was from a law firm in Brussels. Van den Berg and Partners, European Data Protection Specialists. The subject line was in bold, formal notification of GDPR complaint and demand for compensation. Tom stared at the screen. GDPR. He had heard those 4 letters before. The General Data Protection Regulation. The European privacy law that everyone talked about but nobody seemed to fully understand. But he didn't collect data. He sold coffee. Coffee beans didn't have email addresses. What did data privacy have to do with agricultural exports? He opened the email with trembling fingers. The language was formal, legal, and terrifying. A customer in Germany had purchased Tom's coffee through Amazon 3 months ago. The customer had subsequently requested that their personal data be deleted from Tom's records. The request had been sent to the contact email address listed on Tom's Amazon seller profile. Tom had never responded. He had never even seen the request. The email address on his Amazon profile was an old account he rarely checked. The law firm was claiming a violation of Article 17 of the GDPR, the right to erasure, also known as the right to be forgotten. They were demanding €15,000 in compensation for the customer's distress, plus a formal remediation plan demonstrating that Tom had fixed his data handling procedures, all within 30 calendar days. €15,000. For an email he never saw. From a customer whose data he didn't even know he had collected. Tom called Mike immediately. His voice was shaking. "Mike, I'm being sued. Under GDPR. Some lawyer in Brussels wants €15,000 because I didn't delete someone's email address." Mike was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was serious. GDPR is not something to ignore. The fines can be up to 4% of your annual global revenue. For a business your size, that could be devastating. You need to take every single word of that letter seriously. Tom opened the dashboard. Selected the legal department. Added the data privacy and compliance specialist. Typed, complete GDPR compliance audit for a small e-commerce coffee business selling to European customers through Amazon Germany. Identify all personal data being collected across all systems. Assess consent documentation for every data collection point. Generate a compliant data deletion request procedure. Draft a formal legal response to a GDPR complaint demanding €15,000. 30 seconds later, his AI team was active and the results were more thorough than Tom expected. The data privacy specialist conducted a comprehensive audit of Tom's entire digital footprint. His Amazon store was collecting customer names, email addresses, physical shipping addresses, phone numbers, and complete purchase history. His website had a newsletter sign-up form that collected email addresses and names. His customer service emails contained detailed order information, personal preferences, and sometimes even health-related information when customers asked about allergens. The dashboard identified 3 critical compliance gaps. Gap number 1, Tom's Amazon store did not have a privacy policy linked in the product listings. Amazon provided a space for sellers to include their privacy policy, but Tom had left it blank. He didn't even have a privacy policy to link to. Gap number 2, his newsletter sign-up form used a pre-checked consent box. The checkbox was already ticked when the page loaded, meaning customers were automatically opted in unless they actively unchecked it. Under GDPR, consent must be freely given, specific, informed, and unambiguous. A pre-checked box violated all 4 requirements. Gap number 3, Tom had no system whatsoever for handling data subject access requests. The customer's deletion request had gone to an unmonitored email address, sat there for 3 months, and triggered a legal complaint because there was no process, no acknowledgement, no escalation path. The legal department drafted a formal response to Van den Berg and Partners. It acknowledged all 3 gaps without making excuses. It outlined specific remediation steps that Tom was already implementing. It included a newly written privacy policy, screen captures of the fixed consent checkbox now unchecked by default, and a documented data deletion procedure with a dedicated email address and response time commitment of 48 hours. The content department generated a privacy policy that was actually readable by human beings, not the usual legal jargon that required a law degree to decipher. It explained in plain English what data Tom collected, why he needed each category of data, how long he retained it, who it was shared with, and exactly how customers could request access, correction, or deletion of their information. The dashboard also recommended a proactive step that Tom hadn't considered. Instead of just fixing the gaps for the single complaining customer, he should notify all of his European customers about their data rights and the improvements he had made. It would demonstrate genuine good faith to the regulators and might significantly reduce any potential penalty. Tom sent the notification to his entire European customer list that afternoon. He posted his new privacy policy on his Amazon store and his website. He fixed the consent checkbox so it was unchecked by default. He created a dedicated email address, privacy@tomcoffee.com, just for data requests. He set up an autoresponder that acknowledged every request within 1 hour and promised a complete response within 2 business days. 3 weeks later, the law firm responded. The customer had reviewed the remediation measures and was satisfied. The complaint was formally withdrawn. No fine was imposed. No compensation was paid. The matter was closed. Tom leaned back in his chair, physically exhausted but deeply relieved. He had come within a hair's breadth of losing €15,000 because of a pre-checked box on a website form and an email address he had forgotten to monitor. The experience had been terrifying, but it had also been valuable. He now had a privacy compliance system that actually worked. His customers' data was protected. His legal exposure was minimized. And he had learned another crucial lesson about doing business in Europe. Rules that seemed abstract and distant could suddenly become very concrete and very expensive. The key was having systems in place before the complaint arrived, not scrambling after the lawyer called. Is your business ready for a GDPR audit? Tell me in the comments. I'll ask the dashboard what you're missing. Follow Tom's data privacy transformation. gaigroupai.com 7-day free trial. No credit card required.